And we are live from Ibiza for a Café Diem with your host, Michelle Reed, and my special guest, all the way from Brighton, Hayley Field. In this video, we're going to discuss coffee, or maybe the lack of coffee, depending on what my guest is saying today. We're going to discuss Ibiza, of course. Why wouldn't we? Because I'm in Ibiza and Hayley used to live in Ibiza. We're going to discuss no-nonsense nutrition with a ninja, so she knows her shit. And then we're also going to discuss the keys to sustainable fat loss. We're going with fat loss today because that's the most important. So welcome to the cafe, Hayley. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's exciting.
It's very exciting to have you here. And we miss you in Ibiza, I must say. We really do.
I miss the weather and some of the people.
Yeah. Well, the weather has been fantastic and some of the people are still here. So I understand. So for those people who don't know who Hayley is, she's a qualified nutritionist and she specializes in helping busy professionals take back control of their health and their lives by helping them to embed healthy habits for life. So none of this short-term shit with Hayley Field. She is the true food ninja. And what have you been up to in Brighton, Hayley, today? I hope you have some sort of beverage to drink while we have our conversation.
I do, well, purely in honour of you. I know this is sacrilege now. I'm not a big coffee drinker, right?
Okay.
I don't have that gene that metabolizes it quickly, so I'm not very tolerant. Okay. So I've now got a very big cup of coffee, and I did make a whole pot of coffee. So I apologise in advance for anyone who's got to deal with me today, because it's going to be going down today.
I like it. I like if you have I guess it's actually, which is fantastic because I want to talk to you about DNA, that sort of thing as well. So that's a great segue a little bit later down the conversation. But I'm going to be honest, I'm drinking tea today as well. So you've gone for the coffee, I've gone for the tea, but I'm honoring my menstrual cycle. And I know if I drink too much coffee on my menstrual cycle, it will send me to the moon.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what happens to me every time I drink it. But normally I'm a big tea drinker. I like Yorkshire tea. It's my favorite.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So what's brewing? What's in your French press, Hayley?
I have got Taylor's of Harrogate Lazy Sunday because, as I said, I'm not a massive coffee drinker, so it's quite a mild one. But yeah, it's a fresh one. I don't like instant coffee, so I'm surprisingly, snobby for someone who doesn't drink a lot of coffee. I don't want it to be shit coffee when I do drink it. But I like it. It's nice and mild.
It is, and I have experience with that coffee because it is my partner's mother's favorite coffee.
It's nice, isn't it? I like it. It's cool. Not. I don't really want to be smacked in the face by my coffee first thing in the morning. So,
I'm quite interested to see how the last part of the conversation goes after you've had your massive coffee. You'll be kicking and screaming off. I have more things to say.
Yeah, that's basically I'm like that anyway. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a nightmare. And it's very important that you have to stir it with you probably can't see there. This is my fuck it spoon. It says
I like it. Is it silver, metal, or?
It's ceramic.
Ah, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I bet you have a lot of swear word paraphernalia.
Yeah, pretty much.
So since moving to Brighton, but not a huge coffee fan, but if you were to go out anywhere in Brighton and have a really nice coffee or a nice Yorkshire tea, I'm sure you can get them in the same place. Where would it be? Because I actually really miss Brighton, Hayley. So take me back, give me a little bit of a cozy nook in Brighton that you might have a nice caffeinated beverage. Yeah,
definitely not on the seafront because that's just a lot of tea and polystyrene cups.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the lanes. So in the lanes area of Brighton, where there's lots of tiny little shops and stuff. There's quite a nice coffee shop called the Roasting Company. That's quite nice. Or there's a really good cake shop as well called Cloud 9, which does really nice coffee too. And then obviously you have to have cake if you're in there. So.
Okay. If you're going to have a piece of cake with that coffee or tea, what would it be?
Carrot cake.
Oh yeah, I love carrot cake.
Yeah, but only if it's got the cream cheese frosting, because there is nothing more disappointing than buying carrot cake and they've been too freaking lazy to not use cream cheese ice, like it's game over for me. I'd rather just not eat it.
Hallelujah. And I'm going to go one step farther and say, when they don't put that extra layer of cream cheese frosting kind of in the middle of the cake,
like, why would you do that?
I don't know, but that's quite funny. We've been really eating a lot of carrot cake in this household recently. And one of the best carrot cakes I found locally is at Pandora. Did you get to go to Pandora while you were here?
I did go to Pandora, but I used to eat the carrot cake in Passion Cafe.
Yeah, they have a fantastic, anything at Passion is pretty good.
Yeah.
It'll just cost you one piece of carrot cake at Passion will cost you what it costs to make a carrot cake at home. That's the only thing I would say about Passion.
Yeah.
Guaranteed for good cake. Cool. So nowhere specific, but just in the lane somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't, it's a bit weird because I moved here in the middle of lockdown. So I moved to Brighton on the 1st of May. So there wasn't the opportunity to go out anywhere when I first moved here. And it's only really, I mean, I did get a takeaway coffee from a place called Black Sheep Cafe when I was out walking once. That was nice. But yeah, I haven't been out an awful lot because it's only sort of recently been kind of the past couple of months really where everything's been open.
Yeah. And hopefully you should really use this time, I guess, to get out there right now. Hey, who knows what's going to happen in the UK in the next couple of weeks?
Oh, I know. I mean, I go out every day anyway, because the reason I moved to Brighton is I wanted to be by the sea. I really missed being by the sea. So when I moved back from Ibiza, I lived kind of in Hereford and then Nottingham and just didn't feel quite right. And I think it's, I realised that's because I needed to be by the sea. So I do go out every day and walk by the sea, but not necessarily out for coffee every day.
No, I understand. If you're not a coffee drinker, why would you?
No.
Cool. Awesome. All right, Hayley. So from what's brewing to spilling the beans. And so before we talk a little bit more about Ibiza, I really want to know how you got into the health and fitness and wellness game. So I want to know your origin story, Hayley Field. Can you
My origin
share
story, like all true ninjas have an origin story.
Absolutely.
So I used to work in the corporate world. I was an IT consultant for a long time. So I used to do software development projects, that kind of thing. And I was a contractor. And I kind of hated my job, if I'm completely honest. Didn't really fit in. I was kind of tolerated because I was very good at it, but I'm not really very employable, to be honest. So I kind of didn't want to move on from that though, because being a contractor, obviously you get a daily rate and it's quite a lot of money and stuff. But then back in 2012, I started CrossFit and I met a guy called Martin Foster who became my personal trainer and kind of like a mentor to me, really. And he was running something at the box called the Clean Eating Challenge, which I took part in. And I thought, I already thought I knew quite a lot about nutrition because I'd been a boxer and always been interested in sport, but I learned loads and I did really well. And then he said to me, why don't you help me out with the next one? So cut a long story short, I kind of started helping him and growing that challenge. And he kind of encouraged me and said, have you thought about doing this for a career? You would be really good at it. And then I was a bit like, I'm earning quite a lot of money. It's probably a bit difficult. So I did some qualifications anyway, just while I was working, for my own kind of interest, really. And then in 2014, I broke my back while I was training. I had a condition called spondylolisthesis, which I didn't know anything about. It's like a birth defect, basically, with something's wrong with your spine. Okay. And they found over 20 historical fractures in my back. So I've kind of been breaking my back my whole life. Not really knew about it. But anyway, because of that, I was bedbound for like 5 months waiting for my surgery. I lost my contract. I didn't have any sick pay because I wasn't employed. So I sort of started seeing people that they would come into my house and sit on the end of my bed and have nutrition consultations because I couldn't do anything else. I thought, well, I might as well. It kind of forced my hand, if you like. And that's how I started my business when I was like off my face on morphine, basically. I get people to sit on the end of my bed and give them nutrition advice. And then I just didn't go back to my contracting. That was 2014.
Cool. So it's been a steady climb since then.
Yeah, well, there's been a few lows as well, for sure. It's taken me a while to find my feet, but I think that's the same with all businesses, really. But yeah, it's definitely the past, particularly the past 2 years have been pretty awesome. So yeah.
And has it been 2 years that you've been out of Ibiza?
No, I think I moved back here. Well, I think it was like May time last year.
So it's only been a year then?
Yeah, it's been a year.
It feels like you've been gone for longer. Isn't that interesting how some people it feels like they've been gone for no time and it feels like you've been gone for longer, which I think is a really nice sign, actually. Missing you from my life, so it feels like you've been gone a lot longer.
Oh, I do miss doing hill sprints.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
I don't think anybody else does. I like it. Oh, heavens. Okay, cool. Very clear. And some really great rebranding of the business in the last little while as well.
Yes. Yeah. So I had an amazing person called G. She's just an amazing branding graphic design. I don't like saying that she's a graphic designer because she's just so much more than that. She does a lot of brand clarity stuff, help me get clear on my mission and my values and stuff like that. And kind of, it's very weird how she works. She just sort of goes in your head and pulls out everything you love about your brand and just sort of presents it to you on a screen. And you're like, I did not know I wanted that, but it's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, so those people are talented, aren't they? The ones that
it's been really instrumental. Like when you have a brand that truly represents you, it helps you be more yourself, I think, as well, which then obviously has a positive impact on your business. So
totally. And you don't have to put on too many hats.
No.
Keep on one hat, which I find right now I'm like, I totally understand. Maybe I need to meet her because I feel like I'm got several different hats on, including the Café Diem beret. So it might be worthwhile you introducing me.
Oh, you should. She does like a mastermind thing as well now. I'll put you in touch with her. She's amazing.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Hayley. Appreciate that. All right. I would love to touch upon Ibiza because you did spend a number of years here. And I was Layla and I were hoping that maybe one day you'd be back, but it doesn't seem like you're coming back anytime soon, especially since you've landed in Brighton and you've got the ocean now, not the dirty Mediterranean Sea.
Well, I don't know. I think that's probably a little bit cleaner than it is around here.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about Ibiza. Just maybe I always ask my guests to rekindle their first time that they ever came to Ibiza.
Oh God, I don't know if I can remember when that was. I remember I went on holiday there. I think it was around, the one that made the most difference is when I came on holiday in 2012. And I went for a holiday for a week. And when I got back to the UK, I got made redundant from my job and I got a payout. And I just thought, fuck this, I'm just going to go back to Ibiza. And I went back on my own without any sort of plan. And I ended up staying there for like 3 months. Spent all the redundancy money, like very adult, responsible. And then I met a girl called Jenny. I was just on the beach in front of Ushuaia and she came along with like wristbands and she was like, oh, do you want to come like with your friends to the, and I was like, I haven't got any friends, I'm here on my own. She was like sat on the bottom of my sun lounger. She went, oh, tell me all about what's this all about. And that's how I met her. And then we went back in 2013 because she was living there. And then in 2013, we went back for a 3-week holiday and then came back to the UK. And then when I broke my back, she was living out there for the winter. And I just kind of said, oh, maybe I'll come out for a little while. So I went out thinking that I would just be there for a few weeks. And I didn't come home for like 5 years.
Was it a 5-year stint?
Yeah, that's how impulsive it was. I didn't have any plans. I was just like, oh, might as well, I'll just stay here for a bit and see what happens. It's that's kind of like how my life goes, really. Things sort of happen to me. That's
a good thing, I suppose. It keeps you on your toes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about, as well as, I know you are like a firm believer, it's like the opportunity. If the opportunity knocks and the door opens, why not step on through?
Exactly. Just see what happens, isn't it? If things go badly wrong, like you can pull yourself up out of it again if you've got anything about you. So you just kind of see what happens.
That's spoken like a true ninja.
Yes.
Actually, on that one, Hayley, where did the food ninja come from then?
So while I was at CrossFit and we were doing the clean eating challenge, somebody made a comment about, oh my God, I ate some dates. Now, bearing in mind, this is like CrossFitters, so we're all a bit like clean eating wankers, right? And we're like, oh my God, sugars and stuff. So somebody said they'd eaten some dates and they were like, wow, there's like a lot more sugar than I expected. And I commented underneath and I said, well, you know, they're really good, but they're 76% sugar, which is probably why your carbs went up. And a guy called Rupert, who now is a co-owner of CrossFit Nottingham, commented underneath and he said, oh, Hayley, you're quite the food ninja these days in terms of like knowing stuff about you know, food and macros and stuff. And that's where it came from. And I was like, oh, that's a good thing. I might put that on a T-shirt one day. And then this happened.
I like it. And now you've really, like, you've got, I think, is it 5 different ways of the ninja as well?
So that's my like coaching philosophy, because a little bit like you were saying earlier, so even though I got my branding done by G, because my service has evolved quite a lot, I was finding it really hard to explain to people what I do. And I was just kind of saying, not just a nutritionist, because that's what everyone said, you know, started saying is like, oh, you're not just a nutritionist. Because I've done things like a certified sleep science coach, an accredited CBT practitioner, NLP, like lots of different stuff. So I wanted a way to represent that and show people that even though I'm a nutritionist and a lot of what I do is to do with food, it's a very tiny element of what I do. So the ninja kind of the coaching philosophy is obviously an acronym. That's why some of the words are a little bit tenuous, but I was like, I don't give a shit, they've got to be an acronym. So we look at like neural health, so that's to do with, you know, not so much mental health but cognitive ability, that kind of thing. We look at intelligence, so that's about empowering people to have the knowledge to look after their own health, because I very strongly believe that you shouldn't be reliant on someone else for your health.
Agreed.
The second N is networking, and that's to do with the other influences that are in your life, your environment, the people that you spend time with, how much you scroll on social media, all those kind of things, and building a positive network to support your healthy habits. J is joyful ninja, so that's all about emotions, learning how to manage your emotions, your emotional relationship with food and with other people. And then A is active, so that's all to do with physical health, so that's obviously looking at just anything physical to do with the body, gut health, you know, moving around, activity, all that kind of stuff. So those are kind of the 5 elements that I work on with people.
I love it, Hayley. I think that's fantastic. It's really, and it's very much maybe not in the acronym of a ninja, but very much how I look at it as well. And I think it's incredible. And I also want to say that why are we not shouting about taking control of our own health right now, right? Instead of talking about vaccines and all this fear-mongering, all this shit that's going on in the world, why are we not talking about everything that you've just said, right? You want to beat this fucking virus? There's enough for you, Hayley. Look after your 5 little, be a ninja. Yeah. That's what it is, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like it. Cool. So, and then who are the people that you're really helping right now with this particular new way of working?
So I work specifically with business owners and entrepreneurs because I believe that we are a very strange little breed. It takes a certain type of personality and a certain type of, certain personality types of people with a certain type of brain to want to be a business owner. And because of that, there are a lot of specific health challenges. It can be quite lonely running your own business. Because of the type of brains that we have, you know, creative driven and stuff, that means that we're susceptible to mental health issues. I'm very passionate about trying to get the message across, trying to break this kind of hustle and grind culture, you know, all that bullshit you see online with like people with like fake Rolexes and rented Lamborghinis going, like 4 a.m. club and all this bollocks, right? If you like getting up at 4 a.m, fine, but you don't have to sacrifice your health to build your business. And you certainly shouldn't be fucking wearing it like a badge of honor. Like, oh, I survive on 3 hours sleep a day.
Agreed.
That's not impressive, mate. That just tells me that for the other 21 hours of the day, you don't operate optimally, which is a bit dumb, really.
I love it. I love it. So and again, was that more of when you were in Ibiza, were you working with business owners as well? Or is that more of a switch since you went back to the UK?
So I was always trying to do that, but like business owners of their own breed, people in Ibiza are also quite a different breed. And I think it took me a little while to understand that it didn't really suit my coaching style. And I think that's why my business was different in Ibiza, because it wasn't congruent with who I was and the way that I coached. So I did work with business people in Ibiza. And now I do 100% online. So I don't really see people in person. So I was always working with business owners or professionals online. But now in terms of marketing, to make myself stand out, it's no good saying, oh, I work with busy people, I work with anyone. Like, I need to be very specific. And because I understand those type of people, and because I've run a business and, one unsuccessful business, which was very stressful, I understand that. And I want to help people, make them realize that if they are healthy, it impacts their business. If you're healthy, your profits will be healthier because you perform better in your business.
I love it, Hayley. That's so clear and so powerful. I really do love it. I really, I respect that a lot, and been following you from the beginning. Well, from Ibiza anyways, and what you're doing there. And it's incredible. So well done. You can dust your shoulders off. Now I know that fat loss is only a small component of a healthy lifestyle. However, as it stands, there's a lot of people out there looking for this kind of quick fix. And the people are looking for weight loss, which in itself is the wrong way to look at it. If you were to give a couple, let's say three tips for sustainable fat loss over a long term, what would they be from some of your experiences working with many, many clients?
I would look at whatever solution you decide to employ to lose fat. It's temporary, right? So yes, I could do long-term sustainable fat loss with people, a mild deficit, focusing on behaviors and habits and not on the outcome and all that kind of stuff. But for some of the people I work with, they want results. So it's fine to say, I want a more severe deficit because I've got a few weeks where health is going to be my focus, for example. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it doesn't really matter what method of fat loss you use. I'm not a fan of fad diets and things like that, because I do believe that cutting food groups out of your diet is just not the healthiest way to lose fat. But if it works for you and it's sustainable, the most effective kind of diet is one that you can stick to. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing keto. And I'm like, well, do you like carbs? Yes, I do. Well, why the fuck are you doing keto then? That's not sustainable. So I guess I would say to them, always understand, and this sounds stupid because people don't know this, you shouldn't be on a fucking diet forever. That's not the point. It's a temporary thing. Find out the best way that you can eat less calories and just do that. Yes, there are lots of other facets in terms of long-term health and stuff. But, I guess the second thing to say is the hard work begins once you reach the goal weight. No one, no coaches tell you that, because they don't want to, because it's such a hard fucking sell. Hey, I can help you lose weight and get to your goal weight. But then when you get to your goal weight, you're still going to need me, because your body is physiologically primed to put all of that weight back on. Your fat cells are smaller. You're producing less leptin. Psychologically, you've been in a period of restriction. That's going to make you want to eat more. So, that's the second tip, is have a plan for when you reach your goal weight, because you will need one. 100% you will need one. And I guess, in terms of practical things, Make sure you're eating enough protein is the one that I tell everyone, because no one eats enough protein. 95% of people who start working with me are under eating on protein. And that's because, you know, when we look at things like government guidelines, they are not optimal. They're the minimum. This is the minimum amount of protein you need to stop you getting sick. Well, that's not optimal. That's not going to help you. So yeah, I guess to recap, diets are temporary. It doesn't really matter. Like, they all work, but they don't work. Like, keto doesn't work because of magic insulin fairies. Like, intermittent fasting doesn't work because, like, it's got a special way of burning fat and all that kind of stuff. They work because of calorie restriction. Find the easiest way to restrict calories for you and just keep doing it. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. It's fucking boring. You have to do it for weeks on end. But if it took you 5 years to put weight on, don't expect an 8-week program is going to fix that or fix this. The other thing, obviously, is when I work with my clients, we get to change them physically, but then I also have to work on squashing the fat person that lives up here, because it doesn't matter how much weight you lose. If the fat person is still up here, you will put it all back on again.
So almost working on the identity, changing the identity as well, and the mind, for sure. Yeah,
that's exactly what we do. We use we have an exercise that we do in the dojo, which is called your Food Ninja alter ego. So Food Ninja, as you see here, like, that's my alter ego. She is what I, you know, when I'm on it in every single area of my life, that's her. If I'm not on it, I always say to myself, like, what would Food Ninja do? Like, get a grip, do that. And I get all of my clients to do that, to create their Food Ninja alter ego, because unless you believe you are a healthy person who does these behaviors, you will never truly change.
I like it. Yeah, I firmly, again, very clear and very much on board with that as well. So identity is a huge part of it, which for a lot of people is difficult. Cool. Yeah. I like it. Very, very clear, Hayley. I'm lapping it all up, as I'm sure everybody is as well that's watching us, or that will watch back on it. Now, I wanted to ask you about DNA testing for your nutrition, because I'm working with a brand called DNA Pal, and so they are a startup company that do the DNA testing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Have you had any experience with that for clients, or what's
Yeah, I don't recommend using it most of the time, because there's just not, I mean, it's a very, like, nutrigenomics is quite a new area, and how genes are expressed in people's bodies is different from person to person. You know, we're not carbon copies of each other. So a lot of the time there's not a lot of evidence to support a lot of these outcomes, and I find the outcomes are very black and white as well. Like, I've seen these kind of reports because, you know, I've had a couple of clients bring them to me, and you can't say that, you know, or you've got X particular gene, this is going to happen to you. Like, you don't know that. It's a bit like, we're not petri dishes. So I don't feel like, as an evidence-based practitioner, I don't feel there's enough evidence behind it yet for me to say to my clients, we should take notice of that. I feel like there are much bigger things for us to focus on. That's not, you know, the absence of evidence doesn't mean that it doesn't work. You know, it might work, but I don't feel like it's been studied enough yet. It's quite a new area.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? How it's, imagine you take it with a bit of a pinch of salt, so to say, really.
Yeah.
So, and it depends if you're going to be turning these genes on or not with your environments and your epigenetics, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, when I try and explain this to people, I say to them, like, we are all, like, born on a scale, right? So if 0 is really fucking unhealthy and 10 is the healthiest you can be, when you're born, because of maternal epigenetics and all that kind of stuff, you might be a number 4, right? It doesn't mean you have to stay at number 4. You know, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. So if you then take positive steps to improve your lifestyle, you can move up that scale. Same as if you start drinking and smoking, you'll move down that scale. So actually, a lot of those DNA reports, I find that they cause a lot of unnecessary anxiety in my clients, because I'm like, it doesn't matter, because I've been born like this, and I'm like, it doesn't matter, we can change it. We can change it.
I love it. I think that's, again, a very clear and a very powerful message. It is, you can change it just because you think that, I'm not going to say it as eloquently as you did, but yeah, I agree. So thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm interested. I am going to do it and see what it has to say. And then I will get back to you about what my genes are saying.
Have a look. It's sometimes, things like, when we're talking about the coffee, that is a very clear, I don't have that gene that metabolizes caffeine quickly, so I can't drink cups and cups of coffee. Like, that's quite a clear one, but there's the rest of it. Now, I don't know, actually, I shouldn't really say this because I don't know, but I don't think there's a way to turn that gene on and off so that I'm suddenly caffeine tolerant. So in some cases, it probably is a little bit more clear cut, but in general, I just don't think it's a useful tool for clients at the moment.
And on that note, I also do think most people know if they can or cannot metabolize coffee. They just choose to ignore it if they can or can't. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that feeling that you're like I said, the anxiety, and especially women, that we're quite highly strung a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Coffee is not helping you get on with life. And
then also, there's another, there's a lifestyle intervention you can do there. Don't drink it after midday. Yeah. Like, that's going to mitigate the effect of not having that gene, right? So there's always a lifestyle intervention that you can use.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Clear, Hayley. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to have a chat with me over a coffee, now that you're going to be buzzing all day.
Look at me on social media later. I'll be like,
yeah, it'll be great. And I want everybody watching to go follow Hayley. I want you to find her on Facebook and on Instagram at I Am the Food Ninja. I think she is a worthwhile follow, definitely.
Not if you're easily offended, though.
Okay, well, yeah, there you go. So, little disclaimer, she might be dropping a couple F-bombs now and again. But what you get with Hayley is the realness, and it's authentic. And that in a sea of fakeness and fakery, that is really refreshing, Hayley.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
can't be anything else but me.
I know. And that's exactly it. And why would you want to be, right? So,
yeah.
What do they say? Joy or comparison is a thief of joy. So why would you want anybody else besides you?
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, again, I Am the Food Ninja on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. And sorry, I was going to say, and people can actually add me as a friend on my personal profile on Facebook, because that's where I post all my best stuff. So that's Hayley /Hayley Ninja.
Yeah. And all of this will be in the description box below as well. So all you have to do is click through and you'll get straight to Hayley. So before we close up our episode, as it is, we're running over ever so slightly, which can happen when there's some good banter going on. I want to make a mention, and I want everybody to join us next week for our guest for the end of September. So what are we looking at? The 30th of September, as we move into October next week, if you can believe it. We're going to be coming live at 9:30 from Ibiza with a woman called Lisa Strong, who has a business called Strong for Life Nutrition. So again, much like Hayley, she doesn't just focus on nutrition. She does group wellness, Reiki, nutritional education. She's also been focusing a lot on the anxiety and the fear that we're all, some people are feeling right now during this global pandemic. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Lisa next week. And if you're looking to get a hold of Café Diem, I would love for you to come over and say hola at any of our social media. So Instagram, Facebook, and SoundCloud, Café Diem Ibiza. Very easy. So also what I would love, if you know anybody that you would like to see on Café Diem, as I've said with Hayley, it doesn't have to be somebody who's living in Ibiza currently, but it definitely should be somebody who has some sort of an affinity to Ibiza, who can give me a good story about the first time they arrived and what club they went to and how much sleep they got or didn't get. By the way, Hayley, what was your favorite club when you first came?
Oh, Space.
Yeah.
Because Elrow was still I liked the Privilege, like the Vista Room at Privilege, because that's where Elrow was the best. But Space always, because I'm a big Carl Cox fan. So
yeah, agreed. Yeah, we're definitely missing the discotheques in Ibiza this year. So let's hope Ibiza 2021 is a little more lively for everybody.
I'll be over.
Yeah, definitely. I think, we need you over. It's been too long, Hayley, for sure. And then finally, if again, health and fitness professional myself, so if getting control of your health and fitness seems a little overwhelming or a little challenging, I also help women eat better. I help them build strength, which is really important to me. So we never even got into that, but we did talk about CrossFit with Hayley. And again, losing fat, which could be important to you as well. So you can live a healthier, more joyous life. And that is Unconditional Love Ibiza. So if you're looking to perhaps have a complimentary health evaluation where we go through a lot of the things that Hayley's been discussing as well, but on an Ibiza sort of tip, then you can get a hold of me on Unconditional Love Ibiza on Instagram or Facebook. How much longer we'll be on Facebook, who knows? But as it stands, we're on Facebook still. All right, Hayley. I want people to let us know in the comments below what the aha moment was during our conversation. Was it talking about the ninja acronym? So who can tell us what the ninja acronym was in the comments below? But just give us a little bit of something. If you have any questions for Hayley, you can put them in the comments below. Or of course, you can always go follow Hayley and she will give you some personalized attention. So with that, Hayley, we are going to sign out of Café Diem 20. Café Diem 20.
That's amazing. Well done as well, by the way, for keeping it going. It's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So from my living room to your living room, Café Diem was brewed in Ibiza out of a love for black coffee, early mornings, and well-being. And I thank you very much, Hayley Field, for being guest 20 on Café Diem. I wish you a fantastic day. I know you're going to have it. Get all your steps in. And I'm looking forward to seeing your sunset a little bit later in the day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you, Hayley. Adios.
Bye.